on each one of those big 4 platforms. So I'm going to focus mostly on Facebook today, a little bit of YouTube and Twitter, but just for timing reasons, I think if I just focus it on Facebook, you'll get a good idea. So show of hands, how many people have actually go into the analytics on any platform? Okay, so that's a good amount. All right, good. That way I don't have to show you where it is and all that stuff. Does anyone not know where it is? And not know how to go into the deeper analytics? Okay, good. So, bear with me here. Make sure. Just going to go through our Facebook site here. This is the City of Austin's main Facebook site, and this is the video page. We do have a nice drone shot here, splash page video. This is pre-recorded, so I'm going to try and keep up with it as best I can. Actually, you know what? I'm going to break out for a minute, if you all don't mind for a minute, just so I get more control over it. Let's see here. There we go. This might be better. Oop. And so drone videos we also found, by the way, do very well on social media. People love the drone for some reason. Feature video, if you don't have one, I would highly recommend it. You get tons of views just because it autoplays, and it's a good way to feature a department or anything. We do curate a little bit as well, but let's just go into a spot here. Just take a look.
Meet Anna. Anna is one of Austin's most popular influencers. Whether she's giving advice on where the best new restaurants are, volunteering for charity, or helping to keep our park trails clean, Anna does everything with style. But there's something about Anna that many people don't know about. Anna is a poop offender. Stay classy. Help keep Austin's parks safe and clean for everyone. Become a Bark Ranger today.
Okay, so that was a PSA for the Bark Ranger program and keeping our trails clean. Let's see how it did, right? So we just go into our content library, and I'm sure you guys have done this a little bit, and I'm just going to take a look and see how it worked out. So if we look here, it looks like, we have about 2,178 video views, which is pretty good. Those are like more, the 3-second views are more like impressions. Not maybe they just saw it real quick. So you don't really go by that in terms of like the real core viewers or who watched it, although it's important to get, it still got in front of people's eyes, which is good. And it's still the higher number, the better. The 10-second views are more like your people that actually started to watch some of it. And those are the kind of the core audience. And if you could just look here, no one really used sound. So it's always something to keep in mind that you don't want to focus solely on sound in your posts. Sorry. So let's take a look at some of the post analytics here on the engagement side. So 4,400 people reached. Got 22 likes, lots of laughs, a few angry people, lots of comments. You always get a few angry people. That's just part of the game, I think. But and if you look here, the audience retention, like who watched, how long did they watch it? So this is kind of an important metric that we use. Does anyone know sort of what the Facebook standard of what makes successful audience retention? Does anyone know what that percentage is before I blurt it out? Anyone? Okay, so it's about 10%. So anything above 10%, if they stuck around towards the end or near the end, that means it was a successful post, because that's based on just sort of the general benchmarking across social media. It's sort of the unwritten benchmark, but obviously anything above that is good. So we consider this a successful post, especially if they're getting to the end message and end tag, because that's where you really want them to get to. So let's keep going. So let's take a look at another post here. This is a more
Today we
traditional
are
spot.
hosting a Fix-It clinic.
So you want to put it in a fixed location?
And a Fix-It clinic is where members of the public come in with an item from their household that's damaged or broken. It could be a piece of clothing that maybe has a hole in it. It could be an appliance that's not working right.
My DVD player.
And we have skilled volunteer coaches who walk them through the process of troubleshooting and then learning how to fix it.
Okay, so I don't know if you all probably have some Fix-It clinics, but that's basically what this is. Let's see how it did. So we had lots of 3-second views, even more than the Bark Rangers. 10-second views are pretty good, about the same amount of like core viewers, but still people are getting their eyes on it. But let's look, if you look at the engagement, even better than the Bark Rangers. So we're seeing 14,000 people reached total, and lots more likes, loves, and an important thing to look here is basically if you look here, the shares, 66 shares. So what that was really is that post was shared out by a lot of different entities within the City of Austin's Facebook sites and through the share when we posted it. So by doing that, you're getting, like Michelle was talking about, using your internal resources. I think that's sort of in your core audience that's already part of your government or city entity, really starts to help expand your reach. And it's like night and day between posts that don't do that if you don't share them out like that. So, I don't know what happened there. Let's see here. Well, that was weird. There we go. So let's keep going. So if we take a look here, here's my mouse. Let's see if people actually watched it. Wow. Looks like they didn't watch it all the way through. So we got about, we're getting a little lower on there, so you can see here that, maybe that video could have been 20 seconds in hindsight, so we learned from that. Like, maybe it wasn't so much about all the content inside the video. It was a 2-minute video. Maybe 30 seconds or 20 seconds would have started that conversation and launched it. So the video helps to put it out there, starts the conversation, especially working with Facebook algorithms. But it also, don't worry about, maybe it's getting a 2-minute video or a longer video on there may not be the best strategy, but the video starts the conversation, and that's what's important. So it's not always just, if you have a message, towards the end, you want to make it a much shorter spot. I would focus more on that, but if you have a longer video, maybe YouTube might be a better platform for that. Let's keep going here. So this is a shot on an iPhone, slow-mo feature. This is Superhero Day. And that's where our police officers and SWAT teams dress up as superheroes and go to the Dell's Children's Medical Hospital and put on a little play for them, taking down the penguin that steals the animals. The kids love it. So that was just sort of a quick shot. We were doing an actual production there that day, and one of our PIOs just grabbed it on her iPhone and did a little slow-mo thing as they were kind of running into the building for another part of our video shoot that we produced a larger video for. And this video alone, let's see how it did. If you look right there, we have over 100,000 3-second views. This did better than the full production video that we did. So in terms of reach, in terms of getting like eyes on it. So it's amazing what just a 20-second video someone shot on their iPhone, being in the moment and just using a cool little slow-mo thing, upload a song that's like free, royalty-free music, and it just launches the conversation and the excitement around the event and what's happening, because it's new, it's fresh, it's happening now, and it's like people just love it. So if you look here, let's look at the post engagements. So we have, again, 200,000 almost people reached. If you look at that shares there, you have 4,000 shares. Again, that's really what created the success of the post. And so, and of course, engagement opportunities are great there. You know, if people are loving posts, we actually go in, if people post really positive messaging, we'll go in and actually love it or like it. And that's something that, you know, we do when we see that. You will get, this is something just to notice, like, if it gets more successful, usually posts will get more negative feedback as well, which is always interesting. But I think that's just part of social media, is what we're noticing. I don't know about y'all, but just the more popular something is, the more trolls you're going to have, the more negative comments you're going to have. But overall, I think that's just part of the game. It just weighs itself out. But it's something to watch just to make sure people aren't getting too turned off. And then let's see if they watched it. Yep, pretty much everybody watched it. So that's a great post. Real simple, done, great engagement piece. Let's take a look at a live video that we did. This is for a kind of more of a crisis communications. It's a little bit of a water boil notice we had in Austin with some oysters, I think. Where's the problem in the water? Yeah, zebra mussels, there we are. And, but let's look here. So kind of contrary to what happened with Michelle, we only had about 33 live viewers. So we didn't have that kind of like bang out success that she had there with some of their live posts. But, so we're kind of like, well, that's not good. Well, what's going on with that? But if you look at a little bit deeper, we still had over 3,000 3-second views. So what happened? Well, just so you know, with Facebook, if you don't already know, that the algorithms actually favor you if you put something out live. So it gets in front of more people if you go live. So not many people will watch it, but after it goes live, they will watch it because it gets pushed up into their feeds. And so let's take a look at the post engagements. So great engagements here. Lots of shares, loves, great comments. The city saved the day, you know, super. So I think that's a great way to use Facebook Live, especially for crisis communications. It seems for us, we're seeing that it works really well in getting it word out, the stuff's happening, that's really important information that people know. And always follow up too if there is a crisis with hopefully a solution. And then average watch time, this is interesting. Let's look at audience retention. Did anyone watch it? No. No. But that, again, it's sort of a strange thing with social media, the way that the algorithms work. It wasn't so much about the video and what they were saying. It was that they were out there, where our city leaders were out there for the people, telling the people that we've fixed the problem. And that alone generated the buzz. And they saw it, they saw that there was a video and they're talking about it, but that's what was mattering most to the people at the time on the social media, not so much the actual chatter.
Life-changing.
So I have some negative posts, but we're running out of time. So a lot of this, just real quick, I was just going to show you like some of the longer videos we noticed weren't doing as well, and that a lot of those were better in better places for Facebook. I mean for YouTube. So we noticed that just real quick that YouTube is a better platform for longer videos. People really go to YouTube to watch videos. So so Facebook's always going to be a little bit trickier with that. So let me just wrap it up since we're out of time. Let's see. Hold on, give me 1 second here. Find my mouse. Just going to leave you with a few tips here. So Facebook, so wallpaper video, if you don't have one, I would, intro video, I would definitely get one. Feature video, always good to get a lot of views and make sure that's sort of a really good piece that you want to highlight for your city or government. Playlist, curate content, it's always a great idea. Start to build out some of that content just like you would on a YouTube site. Keep it short and simple. We're noticing 15 to 60 seconds is sort of the sweet spot for Facebook, for people watching. Although, Michelle was I was giving this presentation to Michelle a little bit, she's like, well, Facebook's wanting us to do like 4-minute videos now, or 3-minute videos. And so the algorithm is changing, so it may not favor the shorter videos as much, which kind of sucks because we're noticing people don't watch the 4-minute videos. So I'm just telling you what works for us. Obviously, like, you got to experiment yourself with what your own content, and that's sort of the whole idea here. But just be wary that you may have to start making longer videos just because you'll get more eyes on it. But you always want to engage with your audience. Facebook's a great place to engage with it, and then implement sharing strategies, of course. Use captions always. Don't let anything go out without captions, because I think it's like 20%, 30% at most are going to watch it regularly with sound. So, and always try to use custom thumbnails. Twitter's a little shorter. Videos, we're looking at 5 to 30 seconds. Definitely develop a no sound strategy, can use captions, and make your messaging a lot clearer. So you want that messaging to be quick, 5 seconds. You got to get to that point. And then YouTube as well, a little bit different. We're noticing 2 to 10 minute length is working very well. Build your content, with episodic programming if you can. And there's some glass. Remember that content's still king. You want to make sure you still are posting good stuff that connects with your constituencies, and don't be afraid to experiment and create some guidelines for yourselves and for your teams so that everybody can sort of have some baseline to work with moving forward, so that when you do experiment, you know what works and what didn't, and you can grow on that and start to build and create better content. And of course, have fun. So, thank you.
Thank you, Christian. All right, next up is Lieutenant Andrew Scott. He has served with Placer County Sheriff's Office for 30 years. He has worked in corrections, patrol, and as a detective in the Property Crimes Unit and Drug Task Force. As a sergeant, he was the commander of the Colfax Station and oversaw law enforcement services for the city of Colfax. Currently, he is the Lieutenant of Investigations for the Sheriff's Office Investigations Division, Crime Analysis Unit, and the Sheriff's Chief Public Information Officer. He co-founded the agency's social media program in 2011 and manages their social media and communication teams. Please welcome to the podium Lieutenant Andrew Scott.
Thank you very much. As I'm watching Christian and Michelle's video or presentations, there was so much in there that I'm going to emphasize, because we have very different communities geographically and content, but all of what they've said is absolutely factual from our community as well, especially when Michelle was talking about shareable content and Christian and Michelle both talking about the captions. It's very important. Has anyone else seen a problem when you do Facebook captions? We've been having a real problem getting those to work lately. I don't know if that's been universal. Yeah, okay. YouTube seems to be much easier than Facebook is currently. So this is me, Lieutenant of Investigations, Public Information Officer for the Sheriff's Office. We have about 30 detectives. We also have crime analysis that's under the Investigations Lieutenant. Some of my contact information. I try to follow a lot of other people in this field on Twitter because I learn a lot from that. There's a lot of good information, and you guys have a lot of good information that I learn from as well. So 18 full months ago, we started a recruitment video, and we did it in-house. It turned out really well. Our county is about 1,500 square miles, 375,000 residents, which is, for California, a medium-sized county. Obviously, Michelle's is a much larger county than ours is, and the Sheriff's Office budget is about $130 million. We do very well in recruiting. We're considered a destination agency. People from other locations want to come work for us. But we still felt the need to do a recruitment video. So 18 months ago, and obviously we weren't working on it full time, we started this video. What a laborious project. It's amazing how much video you can shoot for 2 seconds of actually making it into your project. So this is the one we shot. And one of the things that I really realized is that It's very time and labor intensive, but a lot of, at least police recruitment videos, forget their target audience. That's laterals or new recruits that want to join your agency, and they use it to explain their agency. So we made sure that we made our video, we didn't even talk about the sheriff's office in the opening part of it, because we wanted to make it attractive both to lateral candidates to come to work for us, as well as their families, and this is what we came up with.
This is Placer County.
Rising from the Central Valley to the Sierra foothills and Lake Tahoe.
It is an outdoors paradise.
With the highest quality of life of any county in California.
Proud and thriving communities.
And some of the top schools in the nation.
Since 1851, it has been the duty and the honor of the Placer County Sheriff's Office to protect this special place. It asks the best in us.
And the best service?
The best protection?
And the best place to work.
Is what we are focused every moment of every day on providing.
From our corrections facilities, to our dispatch and administrative centers, to our deputies out in the community.
We provide the training, more than 4 times what's required.
And the resources.
To make certain that we are ready.
Physically.
Mentally.
And tactically.
For every landscape.
Every condition.
Every situation we may be asked to face.
So we will always be there for our neighbors.
Kids. And each other.
On the worst days and the best ones.
Because we are not just servants of this community.
We are part of it in every way.
We hold ourselves to the highest standards.
Because our community deserves it.
Our honor demands it.
And we will accept nothing less.
It's what makes us a family.
And helps us go home to our families.
This community, this place,
where we are so privileged to live and to serve.
There is nowhere else we would rather be.
So that's what we came up with. The amount of time we spent on that video, you were going to see it. So one of the things that we wanted to come up with is, why do we use social media? Our agency has a story to tell, and we do not want to leave that story to other people. We are the most informed on our agency, and we have the most obviously positive view of our agency, and so it's up to us to tell our own story. If we don't do that, then we're failing. And for us, it's been one of the most effective methods to deliver critical information to people who live in our county. Fire is a big, big issue in Placer County. Just north of us, the town of Paradise was completely wiped off the map by fires, the Carr Fire, the Camp Fire, the Thomas Fire. Vast people, I think close to 100 people died in the Paradise Fire. Evacuation is our responsibility when we work with CAL FIRE, which is the state fire department. So that is one of our critical focus issues that we have is fire. So everything we do, we put in how do we increase our engagement so we can build a bigger base so that when we need to get critical information out, we have the ability to do that. So we came up with a list of goals, and this is important because it's so easy to get off track with social media. We wanted to make sure that we were focused and stayed in our lane. So for us, it was a matter of interacting with our communities in a meaning and substantive way. We want to increase the reputation of the Sheriff's Office and the standing of the Sheriff's Office in our community. We wanted to use social media to solve crimes. We had more buy-in from our staff and deputies in particular when we would post pictures or videos of suspects, and we're able to identify them from members of the community and solve a lot of crimes through the use of social media. That got a lot of buy-in from our staff, who, as law enforcement officers, are typically critical and negative outlook on new things, especially such as social media, where a lot of them look at it as things that their kids use. We want to become increasingly transparent. That's a big issue in today's government. And being able to disseminate factual information that relates to crime and safety issues. Becoming a go-to source of information was a big deal for that reach and influence. And then most importantly, disseminate information during critical incidents and natural disasters. Talking to Facebook, I've had the opportunity to talk to many of the people that work for these social media platforms. Responding comments is the most effective way to increase your reach and exposure. So what we did is we have a team of people that work for our agency, our social media team, and they all have assignments to respond to comments. And it drives our reach vastly forward, not only because we're interacting with members of our community, but that's the algorithm that Facebook has designed, where if you are interacting, they want it to be an interactive platform. If you do that, your reach is not going to only expand because of the people you're talking to, but the algorithms will push your stuff forward. And that's not just in my experience, that's what Facebook will tell you. So you might have also realized that groups have become a big thing. I noticed it first when the mobile app for Facebook changed the menu at the very bottom and added groups as to one of those menu items. When they do that kind of thing, that's usually something you want to pay attention to. Having talked to them, they now say that they want to reach more people through groups, and they're moving towards that and away from pages and individual accounts to sort of that community forum. So taking that in mind, we wanted to get ahead of that. Content that works is interactive and authentic. Like Michelle said, shareable content was big for us. And then being known for timely, factual, and actionable content. When people think of an emergency in our county, we want them to think of us first and go to our site and drive them there for information when something occurs, because they have seen that in the past and they can find the information there when they have questions. So Facebook groups. We took a different approach to this than we do with our page. Topical, we created an account that's just for our Spanish speakers. We have several predominant Spanish-speaking communities in Placer County. Kings Beach up in Lake Tahoe is a big one. It's also on one of the California's highest risk fire communities is Kings Beach. We have 3 of those high risk communities in our county, and this one has a lot of Spanish speakers. So we saw the importance of reaching out to them. There's geographical groups for different communities where they use it as a community forum. So we created ours and focused it on crime and safety. I look at this as digital community-oriented policing. Community-oriented policing is a huge issue in law enforcement. You want to be part of the community. You want to govern with them, not to them. So with the advent of social media, we can now do that digitally and reach more people than we ever would in the community any other way. Typically, law enforcement is the most visible form of government in the community, but unless you're a victim or you get stopped for a traffic violation, chances are you're not going to have a lot of meaningful interaction with your law enforcement. But social media changes that for us. So now we can communicate, interact, have conversations with our community online, and that they feel like they know us because we have that interaction with them. So in this particular instance, North Auburn, we created different community groups that are geographically located throughout Placer County, and we have someone from that area, someone assigned to that station is in charge of content for it. So when there's that interaction, it's very personable, and they can talk about things that are important to that community because they are in that community, and that really drives that community-oriented policing function forward. And then the other thing that we've started doing is now that groups allow for pages, not just individual accounts to follow different groups, we will interact on those pages that other people have created for that community. Tahoe People has, I think, close to 30,000 people follow that. So we can go in there, they're talking about a topic, we can go in there and talk about it as the sheriff's office. And then we can also drive content or drive followers from that page to our page by saying, hey, we're talking about this as well, come check our page. They'll go and they start liking ours and they get more information. So that's another option, another opportunity for us to be interacting with our community. And the other, as a public information officer, this is really important to me because I have to gauge, do I want to put some information out on a critical incident or some sort of crime or something that's going on in our community, or am I going to let it fly under the radar? If I notice that these groups are starting to talk about it and they talk about all kinds, it's like a gossip site. They start putting information out there, I know I've got to discuss it, because usually it's false. I have to correct the false narrative quickly or it's unchangeable. If they're not talking about it and it's silent, then there's a good chance I'm not going to talk about it either. Going into Twitter a little bit, directing the media to your account. We use Twitter as a means of identifying or disseminating information to our local media. We have a lot of followers in the Reno, Nevada area, Sacramento market, and then the Bay Area because Interstate 80 runs through our county. Interstate 80 is the most traveled thoroughfare between the Bay Area going east out of state. Until you get down into the Los Angeles area, there's no freeway that's bigger, that moves more traffic, commercial and private, through out to the east of California, excuse me. So this was an incident that occurred back in 2014 in October, so we're almost there, when a man and his wife murdered a Sacramento County Sheriff's deputy, fled, came up to Placer County into Auburn, murdered one of our deputies and shot a third deputy. There was a lot of media attention on this, and I was at the scene, so I was not involved in the press side of it. But the PIO at the time was inundated and overwhelmed immediately. Something like this creates a lot of intense coverage, and needless to say, this man's still running around with an AR-15 in our community. So we wanted to get him into custody. Immense pressure on her to get information out. And what she did is she said, I can't take any more calls. All information will now be updated on Twitter. Stop the calls immediately and allowed her to get back to her job of gathering that information and putting it out without having to answer the phone and repeat the same information 100 times. And that's what we did in this particular incident. And it really made it a manageable incident from a public affairs point of view, where it was completely unmanageable before that. If they wanted updates, we said, go to our Twitter, and that's what they did. And in a manner of speaking, you're training them to go to that, and it makes your job easier, like I explained. So how do we build that base to start? Several ways. We got creative, like Michelle said, with the shareable content. Sacramento and our area, it rains in May, and then it's sunny until late September, early October. We don't get rain during the summer. So not seeing the sun for some amount of time is unique. We had a long period of time where we had dark days, and then boom, the sun came out. So we created this little post about 911 calls regarding suspicious occurrences. We've been in close consultations with them. We tagged it like Michelle was talking about, the National Weather Service in Sacramento. According to scientists, this object is the sun. If you observe the sun, do not look directly. There's no need to call 911, #PSA. This went actually around the world. It was huge in England, I guess because they never see the sun themselves. But we got a lot of content that drove a lot of people to our site. Now, it's great to have your stuff go globally, but for us, it's really irrelevant because it doesn't meet any of our goals. It strokes my vanity a little bit perhaps, but it really doesn't meet our needs for what we're doing in social media, but it's fun. The other one, you can see that huge berm of snow next to patrol car there at Squaw Valley, USA. That's they held the Olympics there in 1960. It's a very popular ski resort, but we had so much snow, it was insane. They couldn't even use snowplows. They had to use front-loader tractors to move it out because there's just so much. So this was a quick little shot, and that one too, we got a lot of reach on. Find out what the media wants. For us, it's been weather and animals. This video you can see on the top left, 9,000 views, did all right. The deputy rescued a bear that got stuck in the dumpster, which was, that really went pretty wide. And then this other video that you see here, all the deputy did was take a video driving down the center island of the freeway. Remember, this is Interstate 80, huge interest to people of the Bay Area all the way to Reno. And this one did really well, did 50,000 views in a short amount of time, simply from a deputy taking a 25-second video and us talking about it. And frankly, chain control, that's California Transportation, that's not us, but we kind of, but the freeway's in our county, and so it made it relevant. We became a source for information, and by doing this, the media learns to come to us for information, and now they'll call us, hey, I'm going into a meeting at 3 for content. Do you got anything I can pitch to my producer? And we'll give them stuff, and they come back, and they look at us as a source of information, becoming a reference, and they look for Rolodex experts. Who do we have that's an expert on this particular subject? They'll go through, and then they'll find someone that they have listed as someone they can contact for that area of expertise. And that's what we've become in many ways, even though maybe they're not our areas of expertise. And then again, talking about driving them, or do they know from your past content to come to you for future content when they want information? This is another one that went all over Europe, Morocco, New Zealand, Australia. This bear cub got stuck in the dumpster. The other bear cub was trying to get it out, making some really pitiful noises. And it did pretty well. On our post, I think it was, say there, 25,000 views. But then ABC News, Fox News, NBC, CBS picked it up, and they were in the 100,000 mark, which really pushed, and then it really pushed a lot of content towards us. Another one, a deputy got it down in this drain and rescued a duckling family, and that went pretty wide. We got 91,000 views. Washington Examiner posted it, only got 6,000. That's not unusual that we'll get more than some of these organizations. We created a hashtag, People and Places. This is a feature that we did. We sent a flag to George Strait, and he took a picture with it and posted it on his site talking about, he did the song Way to the Badge, and that was real popular, so we got a lot of play on that. And now we take our flags with this People and Places, and we'll take it all over the United States when someone's going there for something, and we'll take pictures of it. Indiana State Trooper.
Let me know if you need help taking a photo.
What's that?
Let me know if you need somebody to take your photo.
Will do. This is Times Square with a French police detective. That was pretty popular. And then going into thinking of how you can be creative, I'm going to run through this quickly. Snapchat. I was a little unsure about joining Snapchat as a law enforcement agency, but they are already making assumptions about law enforcement at a very young age. And a lot of Snapchat users, according to Snapchat, this is where they get their information and nowhere else at this age group. So we are able to talk about the sheriff's office in a fun way to a group of young kids that are obviously going to grow up and have a positive influence and view of law enforcement early on. And then we use it for missing children. It's a big, these kids, when they leave, they tell people, if it's voluntary. If they're runaways or they're been groomed and go off with a much older person who's groomed them, they will tell their friends. And by pushing this out to that age group, we've been very successful in finding some of those kids. So what's our draw? This is another thing. Not everybody will look for us on social media. So we started creating social media stickers. We come out with these every month with different logos. We're up to making 10,000 of these a month, and they go like hotcakes. We put them out to businesses, people take them, put them on their cars, but it has all our social media accounts with our @Placer Sheriff, and these have been hugely popular. Then we use the hashtag like Michelle was talking about. We use MySO as PCSO. People will tag their pictures of where they put their stickers, and then we'll find it with that hashtag, and then we'll repost it saying, hey, so-and-so in Georgia, has this on their car, or whatever the case may be, and that's been very popular. So we've really pushed that, just started pushing MySO as PCSO. Created stickers for businesses. Every business in Placer County we make a personal visit to, give them a business packet about things that the Sheriff's Office can do for them, business safety, fraud, identity theft, and then we give them a sticker. And they put it in, 9 times out of 10, they'll put it in the front door of their business. Gas stations get a lot of traffic. You put one of these in your gas station window, people notice it, and it has all our social media accounts on there. We've also created apparel from some of those social media stickers, and we'll sell that, and we raise funds for some of our programs and charitable funds, and that's been hugely popular. Out of time, so I'm going to stop now, but if you want to take a picture, you can get my information. If you have questions on any of that, I'd be more than willing to talk to you and probably learn a lot from you as well. So thank you very much.
Thank you, Andrew. I know we're running a little late, but we will take a couple of questions. Has anybody got a, yes, sir, go ahead and stand up, and we'll try to repeat the question so everybody hears it.
My name's Greg Cook. I'm from the FCC, and I'm on the next panel, and that's to do with emergency communications. And that's what the question is. I've worked on the emergency alert system and wireless emergency alert for a number of years. And as we work with communities on these systems, of course, we all want to use social media, whether it's Twitter or Facebook or whatnot, to drive emergency messaging to the community. So my question to you guys is, how do you balance the two to use these more traditional but pretty impressive systems like, wireless emergency alerts with the very popular social media platforms such as Twitter?
Are you referring to social media versus your traditional?
Well, actually, I'm referring to both, and I think wildfires are a really, really good example where you would use wireless emergency alerts to send out an evacuation,
Right.
for example. But you would want to balance that, particularly if you're sending out wireless emergency a link, or you also want to drive some. So these are tools in the toolbox, and I'm just wondering how you, it's not like one is opposed to the other, but how you use them in combination.
Wireless emergency alerts are great. We particularly use them for evacs that complement our sheriff department. But those evac notices go out to smaller audiences, and the entire community at large may be interested in that fire or whatever it may be. Our social media channels on our website complement. It's just a different way. We're using it 365 rather than just that one time of year, or hopefully less, that we have to use those wireless emergency alerts. So it's good. I know for us, we have 15 types of emergencies that we've pre-identified. We have holding statements for all of them, and they usually just go something like this. This happened, this is what we're doing, this is what you should do. And we always give an actionable item, like this is what happened, this is what we're doing, this is what you should do. And if we don't have anything for you to do, it always ends with, and follow us on our social media channels that are blah, 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 blah. But it definitely complements, and I think that more people are used to using it in their everyday life, and in that panic moment, I don't think that people know to always check their wireless emergency alert. It's all of our jobs up here to continue to inform people that that's a resource to them.
We found that we have Placer Alert, and we push that all the time. And that's an emergency notification system. Fires, criminals running through their neighborhood, whatever the case may be, we use that. But it's an opt-in system. So if they have a landline, it's automatic, but if they want text, email, or phone call, they have to opt into it. So we push that, trying to get them to opt in. But we also put that same message out on Nextdoor, Twitter, Facebook, because in the case of Nextdoor, it's opt out. So they automatically get it. And in California, in our particular county, 40% of our households have Nextdoor, which is very high because it's close to the Silicon Valley. But that's, we try to hit the message on different platforms.
I'll take one more question. Yes, sir.
When you guys are getting ready to do a Facebook Live, how do you let people know that you're doing that? And opening at a library or whatever it might be, you just do it, or do you try to push people that way ahead of time?
We tease it a few times first. Hey, join us on this time and date for this Facebook Live event. That way people are expecting it, and then right before it, we'll hit it a couple times with a little post that says, in a few minutes we'll be, et cetera, et cetera. But people don't tune in right away. So we'll start it a little early and then go in and say, hey, in 5 minutes we're going to be doing this. But as it goes live, Facebook algorithms are pushing that notification out. And so by the time we start, 5 to 10 minutes later, we've got more viewers because we gave them a little head start on that.
Well, we've gone over our time limit here, so we have about a 20-minute break. You're going to be back in here for the 11:15 session, camera settings, color grading, and post-production. I wish you could all thank me. Help me thank our panelists. Michelle, come on. Michelle Christian and Lieutenant Andrew Scott, they did a wonderful job. Thank you, everybody.